even though I was born with my disability and the different challenges that's come with it, I've had very supportive friends and family. The world does, yeah, it does have its challenges. With disability, I've had to find ways of overcoming certain obstacles, and I've had to be quite strategic. Also, had a very creative mind. I just want to do my own thing as long as it's creative.
Mm,
And I know that I am a leader
mm,
and a change maker
mm,
because my stories do resonate with people. And
mm.
I do know that it does change people's perspectives on disability and the intersectionality that I also bring to the table. But sometimes I forget that because I just like writing stories. Leadership, I thought it was like a one way of doing it, and that's kind of leading a group of people and they just follow you as what it is.
Welcome back to our show, Empower Your Life with Cindy Marie. This is the show where we focus on expressing, not impressing. Here, we celebrate being authentic, being real, building resilience or strengths, and learning how to live life full of meaning and purpose. We're here to help you unlock your full potential, create the life that you're meant to live, and be unstoppable. Today's guest embodies the journey of resilience, transformation. Born with limb and pelvic hypoplasia, he has become an award winning disability advocate, turning his challenges into a global platform for advocacy and inclusivity. He has honored with MBE, or the Member of the Order of British Empire, also leads with wheels and wheelchairs, inspiring empowerment worldwide. In today's episode, we're diving deeper into something that truly resonates in today's world, from challenges to changes, the journey of leadership and creativity, with story of resilience, transformation, and using the power of creativity to lead and inspire. So let's all welcome our next guest, Isaac Harvey. Isaac, welcome to our show, and thank you so much for being here with us today. Finally.
Yeah, no, yes, it's been a long time coming, but I'm glad to finally be here talking with you and actually having it recorded.
Yes, yes, finally. And as I always want to ask, because it's great to check in our guests, how are you doing today? Genuinely.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot going on in life, from different angles and commitments and people, but overall, I would say I'm okay.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. And I love to mention again that you mentioned earlier, no complaints, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and you mentioned about these commitments and your mission and purpose, and I'm sure that for many that I have yet to discover your journey or your story, we have a tradition on our show whereby we love to ask our guests to share their journeys, their stories, their humble beginnings. And for your case, this special ability, aka disability, right? As for people, how has this with disability shaped the way you see things in life and leading you to as an advocate, leader, and creator despite the challenges that you face every day? So share with us your story.
Gosh, I mean, there's a lot to my story, and I know we have a limited time, so I'll kind of put it into a bit of a nutshell. So, as you mentioned earlier, born with a disability called limb pelvic hypoplasia, meaning I have no arms, short legs, a weak pelvis, meaning I'm not able to walk. I also have scoliosis, which is the curvature of the spine. And on top of all of that, I have acid reflux. But even though I was born with my disability and the different challenges that's come with it, I've had very supportive friends and family who have really seen me as everybody else and
Mm-hmm.
treated me the same way and definitely pushed me to be the best version of myself and never really discouraged me from going
Mm-hmm.
out there and achieving and wanting to do things. And that's definitely helped me see the world as, yeah, it does have its challenges, but with a disability, I've had to find ways of overcoming certain obstacles and I've had to be quite strategic with that. But on top of that, I've also had a very creative mind, and I've always loved expressing creativity. And I don't know, it might be just a mix of disability and life in general, but my creativity can just see loads of ideas and different ways of different perspectives of different things. So I wanted to find a way of expressing that. And when I did my A levels in school, which is the last part of secondary school, I did media studies and I really fell in love with video editing and content creation. And I thought, yep, I'm absolutely going to do that. And I don't want to do the 9 to 5. I just want to do my own thing as long as it's creative.
Yeah.
And so I left school and I started creating videos of the different adventures that I would do, made up be skiing, skydiving, tall ship sailing, all these adventurous activities. But within the videos, even though I was showcasing what could be done with a disability, I never explicitly said anything about it. So I never said, oh, this is how I went skydiving because I had to have a certain harness, or I didn't mention that to go skiing I have to be an adaptive sit ski. I would just show it and not really talk about it. And friends and family would see these videos and say, oh, you should really talk about disability. You could change people's perspectives, or allies could have a better understanding of how they can support those with disabilities, and how I could really help a lot of people by doing so. And I looked at the friends and family at this time and I said, oh, why do I have to do that for? You know, it didn't make any sense to talk about disability. Why would I want to do that for? I want to just talk about. I know, so I just want to be creative in my content.
Yeah.
So they kept on telling me, I kept on ignoring them until I was given an opportunity to do a public speaking engagement. It was a church event, and they wanted me to talk about the obstacles that I face, such as pain levels and having to have someone to come with me to certain places, and lifts being out and having to do alternative routes, and wheelchairs getting broken. But even with all of those challenges, I still have a very fulfilling life. And like what I've mentioned, the different things that I would do. And after I'd finished that tour, a woman came up to me afterwards and she said to me that she gets a lot of pain in her legs and she's always complaining about life. But after hearing my story, it really changed her perspective on life, and she had a different look on it. And that was the first time outside of my friend and family group that I really clicked on the impact I was making. So I started talking more about disability within my videos. And then I guess all the advocacy really started when I joined LinkedIn in 2021, a platform that was always advertised to me as the professional Facebook. And I
Yes.
thought, oh, why do I have to join a professional social media platform, especially if it's like another Facebook? And I thought, okay, no, I'll go on there primarily to talk about the work I do with wheels and wheelchairs,
Yeah.
because for those who don't know, it's roller skaters pushing wheelchair users in a weekly basis in London and other activities. And I thought, we were on Instagram and Facebook, but this could be a great opportunity to get out what we are doing to professional eyes. So I started talking about wheels and wheelchairs on LinkedIn, and then I started connecting with people within the community, and I learned about Disability Pride Month, which is a month I never heard of before, celebrating disability. And I thought, oh, that's a really interesting month. So I wrote about it in my perspective, and that post ended up going semi-viral.
Ah.
And I then realized that people wanted to hear my story, and that's when I started to connect with and collaborate with more people within the community, and that's how I'm doing what I'm doing now, really.
Wow, thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
And I love you have mentioned about when you are given the first taste of public speaking and someone, this lady approach you and telling you about how you have widened her perspectives in life because of it. It is true, sometimes when we are focusing much in our world, we felt that life is unfair. But then when we open a little bit and see the other journey of lives from other people, we realize that, oh my God, we are so blessed, we are so privileged, and we are so much grateful to what we can receive rather than feeling that giving up for
Mm.
life has to offer. So sharing this journey with us truly incredible, and that lead you to where you are right now. And I'm curious because through that first taste of public speaking and then combining all of these things that you're doing right now, you have started in leadership role at a young age, I assume, and leadership has been big part of your life more and more. And so I'm curious, like, what does leader mean to you? How does leadership, what's your description about it? And how has your perspectives about leadership evolved, especially in your personal journey? First of all, before you answer all of those questions, I know those are a lot.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm sure that people are also curious. How young were you when you started to feel like, oh, I'm taking the first step here. I'm leading a community. When was that? And then of course the rest you can provide your perspectives.
It's a bit of a weird one for me because even though I am part of the community and I have grown a platform of over 40,000 people on LinkedIn now, which is pretty crazy. Um, that, people do look up to me, and I know that I am a leader and a change maker, because my stories do resonate with people. And I do know that it does change people's perspectives on disability,
Yeah.
and the intersectionality that I also bring to the table. But sometimes I forget that because I just like writing stories. And it's just always been in my mind to write stories. Like every day, I got being out and about, I'm seeing life as a story, and it's like, oh, I could write about that, or I could do this. And sometimes it can be quite overwhelming, like seeing everything as
Yes.
a story.
I know.
And sometimes I forget to live in the moment at times. But it's
Yeah.
like, oh, how can I write that out into like a story? And that's just my creativity that's never really left me. But yeah, sometimes even now, I write stories and then I'll get a comment or a private message saying, "Oh, thank you for writing that," because I thought I was alone with that certain thing that I may be speaking about. Or now I've got the encouragement to speak out on what you've done. So it's those little moments that remind me of how I am a leader in the space. And I guess it's a bit of imposter syndrome as well, because I know what I am bringing to the table. But this week I was announced as a judge for a new award show around disability and inclusion.
Nice.
And when you look at the other people beside me, it's like, wow, they're really big change makers. Like, oh, how did I get here? These guys are like, they know what they're doing. So to be alongside them again is showing leadership. But sometimes I just see it as like I'm still following the leaders as well. Because when I joined LinkedIn, I felt as if I'd been living under a rock when it came to disability, because I knew my lived experience and a couple of other friends, but
Yeah.
I didn't really know about those with visual impairments or from the deaf community. It's only being connected with them and seeing their stories, I've learned so much that I've been able to implement into my own work, and also sharing that when I do the public speaking engagement. So I see it as a continuous journey. And I know you asked like five other questions about leadership, but
Yeah. Yeah. The questions like that I'm probably wanting to hear is that how does, because I know that which I love so much about you is staying grounded and keeping the humbleness in the center, that yes, you don't want to be labeled as leader because you're part of the community, you're still a lifelong learner, student. I love that, same as me. And I also kind of really resonate with the creativity. That's why I was laughing, because yes, when you're a creative person, Gosh, and you're in the moment. That's it. Just like feeling overwhelmed. Anyway, going back to the question was like the definition of wow, stepping into this kind of leading into a very important mission and purpose. And I'm sure that back then, the way you see it has been evolving to what you can see right now. So, can you share with us a little bit on that perspective?
Yeah, I guess when it comes to leadership, I thought it was like a one way of doing it, and that's kind of leading a group of people and they just follow you as what it is. Like that's a leader. You know, when you see influencers and political leaders, you know, you kind of not like dictatorship, but they're kind of like whatever they say goes, and that's kind of like the like a leader, even if it's collaboratively, but kind of like whatever they say, it's like okay, we just got to follow it. But I guess now me being in this position, leadership's whatever you want to make it really, and that's me by just sharing my story and also, as you're saying, being a lifelong learner. I think that's a good way of leadership. And also, sometimes leadership doesn't mean you always have to be the one speaking.
Yes.
It's about listening as well.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I feel like that's made me become a better person in this space
Mm-hmm.
while listening to people and not always be the one speaking. Because you can really take a lot from other people than always taking it from yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. That speaks a lot because that's why for us, we have built this podcast. It's because, you learn so many things from people like you that we're interviewing. And I am super grateful having this opportunity with you, really. And for sure that just by hearing the first conversations that we had, people, our audience, learning so much. And you mentioned from the beginning that creativity has been part of your journey. It's just like within your DNA. And this is how everything started with you. And then I remember, correct me if I'm wrong, that when we catch up in the beginning of 2025, you mentioned to me that you wanted to focus more on content creation, right? And how's things going? Like, what are those challenges that you faced or facing, still facing, combining the advocacy work along with now really stepping into content creation?
It's funny because every time we would have a catch up and we talk about the same sort of topic, I would always say something different.
Exactly.
Because I mean, and actually that may be not a bad thing because it shows growth, but also
Yes.
evolution
Mm-hmm.
of what I'm doing next. But I guess it's changed again, and it's kind of a weird one because, and I'm not doing this to complain or anything like it, but being now as this leader, sometimes it feels like I can't kind of escape it at times,
Mm-hmm.
because I'm known as a disability advocate, and that's what I mainly share. It's come a bit of like of a catch 22 of that's what people do expect of me when
Mm.
I do public speaking engagements, or when I share things online, or if I share something totally different outside of disability, I do see the engagement be totally different to when I am talking about my story. For example, when I want to speak about AI, which is one of my things I find really interesting,
Nice.
I do find that the engagement is much lower compared to when I talk about my story. Um, and
Mm.
that's kind of like I'm, I'm known in this space for my lived experience and the advocacy side. So if I wanted to make a full transition to content creation, it would still have to be well, if I wanted to keep the engagement and audience that I have, it would have to also be somewhat about disability as
Yeah.
well.
Yes.
Um, so it's mixing the two. I mean, look, I love the experiences and the people that I've met along the way, and it's opened so many doors that I didn't even know were possible. But it
Mm.
does feel sometimes a bit trapped feeling of this
Uh,
is kind of it now. Well, obviously I can make the switch, but it's just I have to be strategic in how I do it.
Yes.
Like for example, with the I created a whole separate page separate from me and growing that away from myself, just
Yeah.
so I can grow it. So yeah, it's a bit of a catch-22 at times.
Yeah. Well, I love, first of all, from what I'm hearing from you, it's great to hear the perspectives is evolving, is changing, because that's
Mm.
how it's supposed to be. We're not supposed to be stagnant. And by end of the day, it's your choice. It's your decision. If things change, that's okay. I mean,
Yeah,
for me
yeah,
personally, who am I to judge? Because I do
yeah.
same thing. And you know what's so interesting from what you said about how people known you and have been really supporting or following your work from all of this conversation about disability. I hear you. Um, just to share with you my previous journey, because you talk about the engagement and all of this. Before I transitioned to where I'm right now, I was more on, living life of exploration, like creativity still there. And
Mm.
then I was doing vlogging, I was doing music cover, which I still do, and I was doing dancing, a lot of creativity within me. And, engagement was there. And I can totally agree with you. It's sometimes, or most of the cases, you felt sort of, okay, that gives me a lot of engagement. But then I realized, because it requires me to step back. And the journey that I'd had, I had to really step back and ask myself, now I have done my part of all of these things. Can I reassess where I'm at now? Am I feeling the same feeling as what I was doing? And I tell you, the answer was no. The answer was like, it's the moment for you to express yourself. Because when I was doing that, I was pleasing people. I
Mm.
was seeking for validation from external. I was seeking approval from external. And then something within me just telling me it's enough. It's enough. And of course, how it reflected was burnout when I was in my corporate position. And so I said, oh, well, okay, because you have this two persona within you telling you that, oh, you think, who do you think who you are to change just like that? And how about these people you're comfortable with? And you know what I mean. They're just a constant battling within you. And
Yeah.
I have to deal with that, like really asking both of them, okay, we're here together. How are we going to do it together? What is our purpose here on this in this planet? And one thing that really resonates for both is that we just want to contribute something great in this world. And then I can, okay, so, but then, we no longer in the people pleasing. uh, she wanted to express her voice. And that's why authenticity for me is a big thing,
Mm.
because of all the things that we can provide contribution in this world is really knowing who we are. And I know it's challenging for what we used to slowly transition to where is this journey is telling us to move now. And it's not easy because there are a lot of uncertainty. But based on my experience, what I have learned is that, yes, I've lost a lot of people. Yes, I've lost a lot of people. I've lost the previous account that I have. I lost a lot of engagement, and it sucks. But eventually, as I am handling it better and better and better, I started to receive and experience the peace. The peace that I
Mm.
thought, oh, am I too selfish to feel this? This is sacred. But then I realized, hang on a second, that's the gift. That's the gift of telling yourself that you are evolving. Therefore, three things in life: you met people for a reason, for a season, and for a lifetime. And so when people really meant for you, they're going to stick with you no matter whatever happens. And so that's what I've learned. And maybe this is the journey where you at to really contemplate a lot of things and
Mm.
really asking a lot of deep questions, because we
Yes.
are all in this together. And just like you and I, that's why it's great to have this conversation, because then we realize that, oh my God, we're not alone.
Mm. Yes. Well, as you were speaking, it really reminded me of when growing up. all I wanted to do or have was what the influencers had, and that was having 1 million followers and having all the money for mansions and cars and all the things that influencers had. And that was like the one thing I really wanted to really gain. And when I was kind of chasing it and doing and trying to be that person, it never really materialized. And it got to a point also like with burnout
Mm.
where I was getting like the recognition, but it never really turned into anything. And I thought, I and so before that it was for passion, then it was for followers and engagement.
Mm.
Then I had a bit of a reevaluation moment, and that's when I turned to freelance, kind of working for other people. And then the advocacy came, and now I've got the following, and it felt weird when I went proper viral in 2022.
Mm.
Um,
Hey, beautiful souls, quick message. If you're looking for support on your personal or professional journey, whether it's through coaching, singing, or speaking at your next event, I'm here to support you all the way to rediscover your authentic voice, empower your life, and be unstoppable. Let's connect and see how we can work together. Schedule a call with me. Now, if you would love to sponsor our Empower Your Life show with yours truly, we would be thrilled to partner with you. Simply reach out or contact us at contact@cindymarie.net, or the link is available in the description below. Thank you so much for listening. Now let's go back to the episode.
when I gained like 18,000 followers in a week and 7 million impressions, it felt really weird because in one side it was like I finally got one of the things I dreamed of, but then
Mm,
on the other side it kind of didn't really mean much in that
mm,
way because
mm.
I lost the chasing of it, and in some ways it's one of those things where I also believe that once you stop chasing certain things then it happens.
Yes.
But it did feel really weird when it did happen,
Mm,
and now I'm at a stage where it feels like I'm back to square one again in kind of wanting to do more behind the scenes
mm.
stuff. So it's a weird circle of this. But as you say, it's asking the hard questions and really finding those answers within rather than relying on external factors. And I think I'll always be on that journey.
Mm.
Or maybe I will find a full answer, but this is the first time actually, and this one thing I've really appreciated uh, without us recording these really meaningful and deep conversations that we have, because it does make me think. And it's the first time I would say I've said this publicly to people, so it'd be interesting to hear what people say after this goes live. Because yeah, it just feels kind of weird in some ways.
Yes. Well, I hope that even though it's weird in a beautiful and loving way.
Yeah. It's good. Going with the flow.
Yeah, yeah. But this is also one of many things that I appreciate about our conversation. And you know me a little bit by now of how much I love really deep conversation. And I mean, that's the
Yeah.
purpose of really knowing your answers already within. And we really get so occupied with a lot of thoughts that we thought really more important than the answers within. And I love how you express everything, the vulnerability and the also the courage to share with people where you at. And you
Mm.
mentioned about you're back to square one, and I always say it to the uplifting way. Yes, you might go back to the square one, but you're more wiser now,
Yeah. I'll go with
right?
that.
And
Yeah.
so, I mean, hearing from all of these transitions, like really roller coaster, and many people might not really see the big changes that you've been experiencing in life. That it sounds and it seems like life always been testing you, your
Mm.
resilience, right? So what if a group of people you are in the event, or since you are going to be a judge in an award, no,
Yeah.
in a show, and this group of people after the first episode, let's say, they approach you and they're like, we really want to follow the dreams that we want to follow, and we also in a place of big changes in our lives. What will be your message or advice or recommendation that you would share with them?
For people who want to follow their dreams, you're saying.
Yes, follow our dreams, or they're in their big changes in their lives.
Okay. I guess this goes to, like, those questions where they say, what would I say to my younger self?
Oh,
Because it's one of those questions of reflection.
yeah.
And also it's one of those things to think about. It's like, would I tell myself to do anything differently than what I've done? But I think, as we said, it's partly evolution, and I wouldn't be where I am today with these big questions if I didn't go through the journey. And as you quite rightly said, I'm wiser now than I was a year ago or 10 years ago. Every year I feel like I am learning and seeing new, and living new experiences, or even if it's the same experience, it's seen in a totally different perspective. So I mean, I live life with going with the flow,
Okay.
and really coming out of my comfort zone. Because one thing I have liked about this whole journey, even though I may not have all the answers, is being able to do things I never thought I would ever do. And the people that I meet, I'm very open to that. So I think it's just being open to new perspectives and people, because you just don't know what opportunities it may unlock. And I'm a true believer that some people know what they're doing when they're in their teens, and some people only find out when they're in their 60s. It's there's no determined date that you're going to be like, okay, on like the 21st of October you're going to get all the answers. No, it's kind of like it's a journey, and every journey is different. And I think the only way to really get to that point is being open to new ways of seeing things, and not just being so focused down one line. That doesn't mean like being lazy and saying, okay,
Yeah.
well, I don't have to be so focused because it's going to come another way. You got to have somewhat of an attention, but also just being a bit not too strict on yourself,
Yeah.
to be like, oh, it can only work this way. Well, actually, if someone comes into your life and gives you another perspective, then maybe give that a try.
I love it. I love it. I think what I'm hearing from you very important, and I love you mention it, being open. And I think what you are trying to say with not being lazy, not having plans, like what you've always been saying, strategic, strategic, and use your energy wisely. And at the same time, I think just to add to that, don't be so hard to yourself. And I think
That's it.
we all been so hard to ourselves, and I can understand why. It's because of our world that we're living right now, with the advanced technology that we're living. Everyone can see everything, and
Yeah.
we are going to share everything that doesn't require to share, and then that goes to the energy as well. And so I love that message, and thank you so much for sharing that, because I think many people also, the word being open sometimes can be also challenging to
Yes, yeah, yeah.
surrender to that openness, and also allowing different perspectives, especially if you're coming from a place whereby you did a lot of hard work to achieve everything where you are right now, and believing that I don't need any other people's perspectives, because I agree with you. We are here in this together. We are not here living on our own. Your pain is my pain. Other people's suffering is my suffering. So for us to really live in a beautiful place, we have to give that discernment, love, and kindness to one another. Just really like be kind to yourself when you're in a big transition. And speaking of all of these great things that you have shared, being open, strategic, and allowing things to happen, going with the flow, but not so lazy. And the thing that comes to mind would be the optimism. Now, optimism can be interpreted differently from different people. I am an optimist. My interpretation is that being an optimist, meaning that you're allowing the reality to be acknowledged, but at the same time, you are consciously choosing the possibilities and opportunities to create and be a contributor of positive impact on this world. Now, I'm not sure whether you can be called yourself optimist because in my experience here on this show, some people doesn't want to be called optimist because they don't believe on that. Some people refer to a different word. So whatever that is, if you're an optimist, how do you keep yourself helping yourself moving forward? Do you have like sacred routines, sacred habits, your favorites that it's not negotiable, even though, okay, once in a while, maybe you are not going to do it, but this is part of your tools that will help you to keep moving forward? What would that be?
Well, as a sacred, I can't exactly share it now. I'm joking. um, no, it reminds me of my mental health journey. So, even though I was achieving all of these things like holding the Olympic torch and skydiving and winning an award that got me onto television, I was doing all of these things because, I guess I did have the optimistic view of my disability and just overcoming things. But internally, I wasn't feeling it. And there may be times where I was just showing face as if, oh yeah, look, I'm happy that this has happened. But and don't get me wrong, there's a lot that I've been very grateful for, but internally I just wasn't feeling it. I wasn't feeling real happiness going through it. And I was growing up when social media was starting to really become a thing. And it goes back to when I said I wanted a million followers and
Yeah.
money and everything. I three things that happened pretty much all at the same time. One was to becoming this influencer, and influencers that I looked at never spoke about mental health, didn't even know mental health was a thing back then, but they would just share, oh, I'm got all these houses, I'm all happy, I've got this relationship, life's 100%. And I thought, well, if that's what I need, then that's real happiness. I may have held the Olympic torch, but I don't have a successful job. So I was like, that's what real happiness is. And then going on to relationships, I really thought I needed to be in a relationship to be happy. Um, um, so with the work thing, that didn't work out, and so that was one thing. Then the relationship thing came along, and was really striving for a relationship to a point where if a girl was nice to me, I thought that she was kind of leading me on, and then when I found out that she was just being nice, I would kind of be quite hurt by it, and I annoyingly, looking back, I kind of put myself in the victim seat, saying, "Oh, she's played with my heart" and everything like that. I would let this happen over and over again. Not and every time it would happen, I'll say, "Okay, I've learned it now," but I was only saying words, not actually taking any action. And then when I eventually did get into a relationship, I still wasn't happy. And I was like, oh, well, that doesn't make any sense. Why am I still not happy? And due to that, I became quite selfish in my way. And obviously, you can't be selfish in a relationship. So that didn't last very long. And then also, I was also getting this platform where people saw me as an inspiration and motivation. And I saw people look up to me. This was when I was younger. And I thought, oh, I can't talk about me feeling down because that's not going to inspire anyone. It's not going to motivate anyone if I do that. And none of the influencers do that. So, this must be a me problem. No one else is going through this. And literally all three of those things within the same year happened at once. And I just got to a breaking point. By the way, I'm getting to your answer.
Sure.
So- it all got to a breaking point, and I was like, okay, I really need to understand what's going on here. It was a really strange moment because I'd watched a film prior to this. It was called Lucy,
Oh,
and I don't know if you've seen it.
yes.
Lucy, yeah,
Yes.
yeah,
Actually, sorry to cut you.
yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah.
I just invited my husband to watch it last weekend because I thought,
Okay.
okay, he hasn't watched it. I watched it for the first time, but I couldn't remember exactly the plot scene or the story. So I said, okay, let's watch. Then yeah, so we just
Uh,
watched it
uh,
recently.
Oh, okay, cool. Um, yeah, within that film, I remember watching it, and the protagonist was changing her reality basically with just her brain.
Mm,
And I don't know why this came into my mind, but everything happens for a reason. And
mm,
in that, I knew that she used more than 10% of her brain
yes.
power, and it changed her reality. And when I remember the film, I said to myself, was that reality or was that fantasy? And I
Mm,
literally went onto YouTube and I typed in 10% of your brain, literally just really randomly, 10% of your brain. And I came across a guy called Bob Proctor,
mm,
and he was talking about the law of attraction, and I'd
mm,
never heard of that term before. But I
mm.
watched the video, and life just all of a sudden started to make sense. And then one video led to another, and then I found more people talking about it, and I went down a huge rabbit hole, like a whole year's worth of really. I got quite addicted to learning about it actually.
Wow.
Yeah, I was really fixated on it. It was just like, wow, this is really fascinating, and I kept learning. And then at the end of the year, oh, and also whilst I was doing this, I learned about meditation and breathing
Mm.
exercises because it was something I used to mock when before this. I was like, oh, how can you breathe a little bit and be okay afterwards? It didn't make any sense to me, but actually after doing it and actually practicing it whilst learning about manifestation and all of those different things, I
Mm,
really started to understand life in so much better way.
mm,
And after all of that year of learning, was like, okay, life is all about optimism. It's about having the glass half full. It's positivity. That's all what life's about. So I said, okay, I don't need to do any more learning. I don't need to do any more meditation or breathing. I understand it now. 2 weeks later, I was back to square one.
mm,
As I said earlier, back to square one, and I was really down. I felt really depressed. I was sad. I was angry, and I thought, how has this happened? How can I get back to this point when I've just done all this learning? And that's when I realized it's more of a journey rather than an end destination.
yes.
And I would see life from a more realistic point of view because for me, being realistic prepares you for both negative and positive experiences and
Mm,
allowing me to have different perspectives on that. So shifting the perspective. Optimism is good, but I would say I'm more realistic in how I approach and see life.
beautiful. I love it.
Yeah.
That's why I said from my interpretation earlier,
Yeah,
my
yeah.
definition of optimism is not just the positive thinking. And, from what I'm hearing from you, and many people actually believe that once you learned it and you practice for a couple of times, you kind of have it. But it
That was
has
me.
to be a part of you. You have to embody it, that it's becoming your norm. The moment that I've learned meditation, breath work, of course, it's a journey, right? You don't have 100% every single day.
Mm,
But the moment that you have embodied that, I just know that For me, it's something that non-negotiable, but it doesn't mean that, let's say, today I'm pretty feel different, so I don't feel like doing it, and that's okay. Going back to not so hard to yourself, that when you know that you're already doing it, it's your, I say it as well, it's a life, it's your way of lifestyle. You know, you don't do it just for the sake of. You're doing it is because it's you. And I think for me, for when you mention about realistic, it's important to see the reality, but
Yep.
also it's important to know how you can be part of the solution, not just adding more problems in this
Yeah.
world, right?
Yeah.
And I'm very grateful you actually share all of this chapter of your life on how you realize your understanding of positivity in your journey. And, you know, I always also share to people that everyone has different way of perspectives. That's why life is beautiful, you know,
Yeah. Yeah.
and we give one another piece of encouragement that whatever they believe, as long as it's uplifting them and supporting them, why would we pull that away from them if that's their source of fuel, right? And hearing from all of these things, you know, I know that we have elevated a lot of our audience from vulnerability, from authenticity with our conversation. And I'm sure that a lot of people are so curious how they can connect with you, where they can find you, those events that you have. Now we know that you're a part of the judge. Congratulations in
Yeah.
advance.
Thank you.
And so, where is the best place for people to connect or find you? Perhaps including you on the not business, but public speaking or other things that you would like to be to support. Where can they find you?
So as social media is a job in itself, I try and keep it to a minimum. But I would say that primarily I am on LinkedIn, and you can follow me at Isaac Harvey MBE. And I would also like to mention about my new Facebook page, which is all about accessibility and artificial intelligence. And that is called Horses Don't Ride Sheep.
Nice. All right. Well, okay,
Yeah.
that's too pretty easy to remember. Don't worry, guys, because we're gonna add that information on our description on our blog, so you won't miss on where or to find or connect with Isaac. Now, Isaac, I know this is amazing, and it's incredible conversation that we had, and we're about to end the conversation.
Yeah.
But before I let you go, I have one last question, and maybe you require some time to think about it, but just think of in a perspective the first thing that come to your mind. So are you ready for the last question?
Okay. You know, you always do this to me with hard questions, but yes.
It's gonna be cool. It's gonna be awesome. I know you're gonna love this question. So,
Sure.
Isaac, if you could change one thing about how society views disability, not only on workplace, but also in everyday life, what would that be and why?
I think it's yeah. I mean, there's a lot I can say about that, but I think the main one being is that disability can happen to any one of us at any given time. May that be through accident or health condition or just getting old. That we should be taking accessibility and the conversation a little more seriously, knowing that it can happen to any one of us. And usually, when people do end up talking about it, it's too late. So, I think accessibility should be at the forefront of most people's, well, no, everyone's mind, because it can happen to any one of us at any given time. And making something accessible is not just for those with disabilities; it's for everybody.
I love that message. Thank you so much, because that truly connects with the new Facebook page, accessibility, apart from the
Mhm.
artificial intelligence.
Yes, yes.
But thank you so much, Isaac, for this opportunity of having vulnerability, reminder, encouragement, inspiration coming from you, and I appreciate this conversation that we had. Now, everyone watching or listening right now, if you found this episode valuable or helpful, please share it with others so we can help others to elevate their resilience, their, perspectives in lives, and also giving their positivity in their own lives. Thank you so much for everyone joining us today. Until next time, with yours truly, Cindy Marie, here to empower your life. Isaac, once again, million of thanks. We
Yeah.
appreciate you so much for today's opportunity.
Yes, and thank you for having me and for waiting for me to get to a time where it could happen. So really do appreciate you and grateful for the opportunity.
Thank you. Isaac's story reminds us that real change starts when we see the possibility in the face of adversity. His leadership, his creativity, his vulnerability, his courage, his boldness, and still open for the changes in life on how life can offer us in a beautiful and amazing way. If you enjoyed this episode, let us know your thoughts. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and share with someone who might need it. Follow our podcast and leave a review so you can help us grow and reach more people to empower more people's lives. Until next time, stay optimistic, stay curious, and don't forget to have fun. Believe in yourself. You've got what it takes to pursue your dreams and make a positive impact. Keep going and be unstoppable.